when it comes to anti-inflammatory foods, it's fairly accepted and highly researched that fatty fish are probably one of the top things that you can actually consume. Very high in EPA, DHA, which are omega-3 fatty acids, which are extensively studied, and it's pretty conclusive that this is one of the best things to build into your diet on a very regular basis, 2 or 3 times a week. And another thing that a lot of the supplements, the little tablets and little capsules of omega-3, sometimes they found that they're a little bit too pure, and basically, if you want to get good quality omega-3, you really kind of have to eat the fish, and there's no real ways around that. Now, another ingredient that's starting to get a lot of attention, which isn't as researched obviously as the omega-3 from fatty fish, is sour cherries, but there's some promise here that they seem to contain compounds which are again very anti-inflammatory and very beneficial towards things such as gout. They're full of antioxidants, full of vitamins, and as a general rule, if you were to look at one category of foods that you should try eat almost every day, it's probably berries, be it blueberries, strawberries, raspberries, cherries. Berries are probably one of those foods that the human body has been originally designed to eat. We're as a species, we're probably a foraging animal, and berries would have been one of those things on our menu as much as we could get them. And also bearing in mind that we're a tropical animal, we never stopped being a tropical animal. And all of these kind of berries and plants, you'd have berries available right through the year, not so seasonally in tropical areas. So I'm going to match the mackerel with some nice sour cherries. I think it's very simple, kind of a dressy sauce. I like using fruits and fish as well. I think especially the sour cherry, which they're not overly sweet. And a great place to get these is the supermarkets. Nowadays they're very, very available in the frozen sections. I'm going to use a selection of garden herbs. I'm using a little bit of mint in this, some coriander. My coriander is going a little bit seedy, but it's still got the flavour. A little bit of oregano, but use what you can get. If it's only a piece of parsley, just use the parsley. You don't be restricted to, again, look at these recipes more as guidelines and then follow it through. Nice piece of olive oil, and then I'm going to use a bit of fennel, tomato, and I'm going to put a little bit, about a half teaspoon of ginger in here, just to kind of give a little bit of interest, and obviously it's a very anti-inflammatory ingredient. But looking at one individual, say turmeric, people think it's some kind of a miracle ingredient. It's all about balance. It's all about the entire diet as a whole. Some things are going to work for some people, some things are not going to work for other people. So it's really, as I keep saying, it's a case of finding what works for you. And what I'm trying to do is show you what works for me. But you're going to have to kind of play around with this a little bit as well. But this should be a lovely little dish. This is a lovely dish with sour cherries, mackerel, lots of fruit and veg. And I'm going to just finish that with a nice little baby jam salad. Any lettuce will do, just a nice kind of summery, kind of fresh, spring summery kind of dish. And I hope you enjoy it. So into this little dish, first of all, what I'm going to do is just put about a half teaspoon of coconut oil. And into that oil, I'm just going to add my ginger. Just to kind of get some of the rawness and just to cook the ginger just a little bit. Won't take long, a few seconds, just to kind of get that bit of flavour in there. I'm going to give that lovely gingery spice into this little dish. Next thing I'm going to add, very quickly, that's all it took, just a few seconds, just to kind of give it a chance to cook. And now I'm going to add my peppers and my tomato. And also my fennel. I've just finely sliced up, well, I wouldn't even say finely, I just sliced up my fennel. About half fennel, lovely fish, a lovely fish vegetable, lovely anise flavour. I'm going to let that cook just for a few seconds. And into that, about a tablespoon of water, just to steal it along. And just pop a lid on it just for a few minutes. Now after about 1 minute, I want a nice crisp in all of these vegetables. I don't want to be overcooking anything. But I just want to get a nice piece of flavour. Just add a pinch of salt into that now. As you can see how it's looking. Literally just cook it for a couple of seconds there. And now I'm just going to add in my cherries. These are these lovely sour cherries. You can get them in all supermarkets, and I think they're one of these great ingredients. Kind of, people are using them for porridges, things like that in the morning. They're just a very, very good thing to be bringing into your diet. Now, a problem with mackerel is we do tend to want to grill it because it tastes wonderful when it's grilled and cooked under high temperatures. But the problem is omega-3 fatty acids are very heat sensitive. So you do want to be cooking at more moist, lower temperatures just to protect those omega-3 fatty acids. So I'm just going to pop down my mackerel there into this pan. Just going to put a pinch of seasoning into it. Just a little bit of black pepper. Just allow that to cook for a few minutes, or a few seconds I should say. And then I'm just going to flick this over. So again, as I was saying, you want to protect those nice, those fats. And we just have to get our heads around cooking at lower temperatures with certain foods. Because what's the point in eating fish if you end up ruining the real benefits of it? And as well as that, when mackerel is lovely and fresh like this, it's a great, it's lovely poached. It's just that people have got it in their heads that it's a grilled fish or a barbecue fish and so on. But you know, lower temperature methods protect those nutrients, and we have to kind of get our heads around that way of cooking. So I'm just going to just keep that there, just like that, and just cover it over, bring up the temperature on my pan for just a few seconds, and then when I can see a little bit of steam kind of coming around the sides, I'm just going to turn off the heat completely. And then I'm going to just allow the residual heat in the pan just to finish off the mackerel. It'll only take about 2 minutes. So, but don't lift the lid off it. You can hear it and you can kind of feel that heat getting in there. And then just turn it off. Turn off the heat for a few seconds and wait for a few minutes. About 3-4 minutes. So having waited about 3 minutes, just going to lift the lid there. Pop that back on the heat there. And as you can see, the mackerel is just really kind of coming into it, being cooked really, really nicely and protecting all those meats and so on. And as you can see, the mackerel is already flaking apart. It takes very, very little cookery to finish off mackerel. You know, or any of these smaller fish, we do have a tendency to overcook them. All I need now is to put a nice squeeze of lemon juice. I've used half a lemon, and I'm just going to put a quarter of that, so quarter of lemon juice in here. And then I've just chopped up my herbs. My little piece of coriander, mint, and a little bit of oregano as well. I'm just going to sprinkle those liberally over. So have a little taste of your seasoning now at this stage. Just a little bit of fennel there, and I think it needs a pinch more salt or seasoning, but don't overdo it because you'll find that the flavours there, it's all about freshness like this. A little bit of black pepper, hint of salt, and then finally I'm just going to put a little drizzle of olive oil, about a tablespoon, over the whole thing. Pop the lid on that, take it off the heat, and that's now cooked. And then we just have to plate it up. So to plate this little dish, we'll just get a nice appropriate kind of size plate. There's my mackerel, all cooked already. You could almost just serve this in a pan and let people take it themselves. But I'm just going to use just a few little leaves of nice organic little gem lettuce. Just going to build them up. The thing with lettuces is you can eat all you want. It's a great bulk kind of dish. And then the mackerel. Going to take some of my nice vegetables, pop them down there first with a nice sour cherry. Just going to take a nice fillet of the mackerel then. A few more of the nice sour cherry vegetables on top. And for me, there'd be 2 portions there. But, you know, you could be greedy, I suppose, and eat the whole thing. And so there's our mackerel. And then finally, I'm just going to give the whole thing a good spray juicing of the other quarter of a lemon, including the lettuce, because this is how I'm going to kind of make my little dressing. Is I'm just going to put a little lemon over the salad and the lettuce, and that's going to put the acid. A little drizzle of olive oil. That's all you need there. Little olive oil over the whole thing. And then I just retained a few little sprigs of the herbs, a little bit of coriander. So I'm just going to put a little bit of, just for the sake of garnish, not necessary by any means. My coriander's gone a little bit seedy, but still it's got loads of flavour in it. A little bit of mint. And that's it. That's all we need for this little mackerel with the sour cherries. Very, very simple little dish. Very fresh, very, but lovely and filling. It's quite a filling dish, and it's a great way of approaching mackerel. I hope you enjoy this one. Thank you.